Nigerians are expected to seek out the best. 2 words to describe the activity.
The Yoruba Unity Forum is conducted.
Be the first to know. From the north, south, east, west, and around Africa.
Presidential
we break the news.
Women in Nigeria.
Now you can catch all the actions live as the news breaks. We are Core TV News.
Welcome to Core TV Primetime
News, a 24-hour news station.
Thanks for joining us again. It's Core Digest Wednesday, exclusive to Core TV News. Another set of 6 People's Democratic Party members of the House of Representatives announced their defection to other political parties on Tuesday. The move came just as lawmakers were conveyed from recess in Abuja after about 5 weeks break. Now, 3 of the defectors joined the All Progressives Congress, 2 joined the Labour Party, while 1 switched camp to Accord Party. Now that establishes APC having been in the majority on the floor of the House of Representatives. We're talking state of the nation this morning ahead of the general elections that have now been rescheduled to March 28 and then April 11. I'm joined by public affairs analyst Victor OKHAI. Good morning, Victor.
Good morning.
Thank you for joining us today on Core Digest.
Thank you for having me.
We have some tweets already. Maybe we should start from there. Okay. This is Shehu. And Shehu is saying that, just give me a minute to fetch out the tweet this morning. I really want to see Mama Peace coming out to condemn the terrorist act unleashed on APC rally yesterday in her hometown. And he also says Nasarawa, not Jigawa, has the highest percentage of PVC collected so far with over 96%. Maybe you want to help me just quickly confirm that from that. Just
Nasarawa has 96.29%.
Oh, Nasarawa has 96.
Yes.
All right.
Jigawa has, let me
93, I guess.
93.20.
Okay. Thank you very much for that correction.
Gombe even has more than Jigawa.
Okay.
95%.
95%.
So, yeah, so they're second.
Let's start from the distribution of PVC.
Yeah.
Looks as if the extension or the postponement is a blessing in disguise for the Nigerian electorate.
Well, I've always said that, you know, it would not be fair to just say, okay, use, because so many, if some people have registered, it doesn't matter, just go ahead. Because the truth is, it's not so much as many as have registered, as much as many as are willing to vote, but are disenfranchised, you know. And so I think it's only fair, you know, that if a man is willing to vote and he's registered, and there's a possibility that his PVC is lying somewhere, that he be given a chance to exercise his civic responsibilities. So to that extent, I think this has been very good. Plus, I think there was so much tension in the air, and the postponement, you know, just calmed everything down. Whether we believe it or not, it's possible that some people who are alive today would not have been alive if that election had taken place on the 14th. Because of the kind of violence that, you know, and even the kind of tension, you know. But mercifully, there's a bit of sanity right now. And I think by the 20th of March, we'll be seeing
We are hopeful that things will get better.
I'm hopeful.
But let's stick with the PVC for a while. Are we really, truly looking at the big picture here? Because unlike the percentage, they're saying 75.94% of the total PVCs have been distributed. Let's look at the real number. It's just a bit over 52 million. Compare that to the number of registered voters we had in 2011. Compare that to the present census or the present number of Nigerians who are of the voting age.
Yes, I was going to say Nigerians of voting age, because yes, we may be 150, 160 or 170 million as the case may be. But what is more important is how many Nigerians fall within the age. And of course, you can't force anyone to go and register to vote. Just like you can't force anyone to seek office, you know. So it's only those who are willing to do it, you know. There's still many people who aren't bothered about who comes in or who does not, you know, or who don't bother to go and vote or to register. So, but what I think is more important is if we have 68 million registered voters, as they say, close to 70 million, 52, there's still a shortfall of about 16 million. That's quite a number.
That's a huge number.
Yes, but I'm hoping that the gap will be bridged before the 8th of March, I
That's
think.
right.
But I'm worried about two things. You see, whenever you give an extension, people tend to relax. And then a day or two to the closing date, then they all start rushing and all that, you know. The other thing that bothers me is the numbers collected. Have they truly been collected? Have they been distributed? You see, there are figures that are being bandied here and there. I know a case, for instance, my secretary on a weekend in her house, people came and were distributing cards. They would look for you and begin to, it was like area boys that were bringing these things and giving them. They brought hers to her at home.
PVC?
Yes, PVC card. They brought it to her at home. And then when she said, oh, she will vote for a certain party, I said, no. He said, no, I'm only joking. And then she took, and then they gave her a card. And I'm wondering, why would anybody collect PVC on behalf of anybody? Why would you take the card and go and give to somebody? I'm telling you about a true, a real case now.
In Lagos?
I'm saying my secretary in Lagos, yeah. You know what I mean? So, how many have been truly distributed? It's possible that a lot may have been collected.
Oh, I see.
Some held back, and some, you know, given to those who people may consider favorable to their parties.
The INEC chairman has been summoned to the Senate to talk about the suspension, the postponement of the election date as regards as the use of the card readers. Given all these stories of stolen PVCs, collections and distribution, don't you think it's more pertinent that PDP drops its stance on the card readers? Because that, of course,
the card reader is
what can verify the authenticity.
You cannot compromise the card reader. Otherwise, you won't have that kind of card. We might as well work with the TVC, the temporary voters card. The card reader authenticates the card. It shows that you're truly the owner of the card. It's like you use your ATM. You might as well just go into the banking hall. You know what I mean? But if you have to go for, you know, otherwise people will clone cards. People will fake cards. You know? What the card reader does is, if you bring your card, it will read it, and I guess it will register that also you have been there to vote. You understand? You know, that's another way of knowing how many people may have come as well.
Just a minute, Emsa, can we get silent films on the collection of cards and all of that? Let's just wake up to our responsibility here this morning. And as we also begin to, because you made mention of the fact that it's getting thinner, that probably if the elections were held on February 14, that some people wouldn't be alive today. How would you describe what transpired in OKHAI yesterday?
What happened in OKHAI is, to say the least, sad, because, I mean, any violence is condemnable, any form of violence. What we read, or were told, since we know there was there were some dynamites, which means local explosives, that were detonated at the venue of, the proposed venue of the rally, where people were gathered, and it created confusion and all that. And I think maybe a life was lost, a policeman, and the Channels TV staff was stabbed and all that. I mean, that's condemnable. Usually in cases like this, you go into investigation, because both sides will throw accusations, you know. But obviously the suspect would probably be the opposing camp, obviously, because it is, you know, the other camp that is holding a rally. But I think it is also important that proper investigations are done, because you never can say. You might suspect, but things can also be orchestrated. I'm not saying that's the case. These are politicians. You know, you can hardly trust. I mean, there are politicians you might trust, but a lot of them you can't trust. They can engineer anything, sometimes to win sympathy, sometimes, you know, to make a certain point and all that. So I think there should be proper investigation, but for whatever it's worth, it's condemnable, it's just not right. That's not the kind of politics we should be practicing.
Victor,
right
is
now.
it a coincidence that this happened in the hometown of the First Lady, given the history that prior to this time exists between the First Lady and the governor of the state?
I just said something to you. You see, things aren't always the way we see them. With politicians, I'm very careful. And the reason is simple. You know, you just need to, the police will be able to tell us better the way criminal minds work. You know, I read in papers yesterday before I said about an Indian who masterminded his own kidnap in Abuja. Can you imagine that? And they were demanding a ransom of about 7 million. How can you imagine that the man will organize his own kidnap? The other time we read about a man who organized a kidnap of his own, is it daughter or of his own child? I think he and his wife organized it. And they had church members who were contributing money. But meanwhile, he and his girlfriend, masterminded the kidnap. So the criminal mind, the way the mind operates, is such that if you don't investigate properly, you would immediately just say, okay, you condemn. So it may have happened in the First Lady's place, but what does she stand to gain? If it is her base, then she's assured. You understand what I'm saying? If you come, you talk, you go. But on the other hand, it may just be, okay, don't come and campaign in my place as well. But I don't see her coming to.
Would you say that that our security agencies are being proactive enough? Because this is the same River State where we've recorded explosions.
I would say reactive, not proactive. I would say they're being reactive. Reacting after the fact. You should anticipate and checkmate situations and cases like this. Going to a place like OKHAI, for instance, I would expect the security there should be, more than usual, and then the place should be cordoned off and, just check, just make sure. If the opposition is coming to my territory, for instance, I know I'll be suspect. So if I'm in a position, I say, please protect him, take care of him, so that nothing happens to him. Otherwise, I'll be the first suspect. You know what I'm saying? So it doesn't pay anyone for your. I don't use your word enemy, even the people that use it, because people who are in different camps can be in the same camp tomorrow. But the opponent or the opposition, if they come to your territory, I think you have a duty to make sure that they're protected, because otherwise you're a chief suspect. It's neither here nor there. I hope there's proper investigation, but I also hope that people condemn this, because this is not the spirit. This is not the way it should be.
We have a situation whereby certain people, militants or civilians, are wielding guns, arms and ammunition. They have access to explosions. They can even engage security agencies in gunfire. What kind of situation are we looking at as we count down to an election? Will this even inspire the electorate in these areas to come out on election day to vote? Well,
usually the problem is not even at the point of voting, because voting is secret. Okay? Violence, sometimes after voting, when you're moving the ballot box, or in certain strongholds, you want to create confusion, just so that you can have advantage. I know I was talking to someone recently. I was shocked. He was so shocked at the way politicians' mind work. And he said to me, he's competing in that world with somebody. I said, when they, at a certain point, when the people would have voted and they know who, and then as the thing is going on, they will create confusion in that place, scatter the place and make sure that, that particular place, which is a stronghold of the opponent, that is inconclusive and all that. How can you imagine a thing like that? So they're already calculating ahead of time. You know what I mean? So, and you go there and you begin to wonder, this is how this is the way they think, the way the mind works. So violence, I'm hoping that the policemen and the security men will be up and doing. Although there has been a lot of argument against the military, good arguments as well. But I think that more often than not, where they have been present, violence has been minimized. We saw that in Ekiti, we saw that in Osun, we saw that in Anambra. Just the very presence dissuades area boys from being adventurous.
Before or
criminals.
during the election?
No, during the election.
You recall that the Court of Appeal in Abuja has already talked about military presence
yes,
during
I
the
agree.
election.
That was a political judgment. I say political because, you know, sometimes, you know, you have to throw the baby with the bathwater, you know. I do not think ordinarily that the military have any business, you know, during polls, you know, money. But again, there are peacetime duties for the military, you know, where there's a threat to peace and all that, and they can support the police.
Why the military? Why not the police? Why not the NSCDC?
I say they can support. That's my language. NSCDC is not properly armed, you know, to dissuade. Armed as a deterrent now, not to use. And I don't think there's been any case of the military shooting anybody. You understand what I'm saying? But their very presence is enough to dissuade.
What about the intimidation that comes with the presence?
No, I don't think there's been any physical intimidation. You know, I think what happens, they're just there, like fly on the wall. You understand what I'm saying? And so if anyone is thinking about playing any games, that is enough to intimidate people with bad intentions.
Have you heard a particular audio clip that was uploaded on the YouTube by a certain captain?
I didn't listen to the audio clip, but I watched the interview with him on Sahara.
Okay.
But I didn't listen to the audio.
There are allegations that certain political stakeholders prior to the June 21 Ekiti election had this more or less relationship ongoing between them and the Nigerian military. They had them at their beck and call, and many would say that unfortunately...
But let me ask. I watched the, what do you call it now? The Sahara report completely.
Just a minute. Let me communicate with the MCR. Just check...
For the audio.
For the audio. Just check for... sometimes last week in the final video, you'll find that particular audio clip.
I'd like to listen
I believe last week, Monday, thereabout. But, you know, many are saying that at such a time where it is hard to differentiate or to validate the independence, really, of security agencies, how do we justify their position at electoral times?
Everybody has an opinion, everyone has a vote, and everyone has a preference. What they must not do is impose their preference on other people. But if a military man stands there, I think he doesn't have a candidate in mind, we'll be deceiving ourselves. And Nigeria is like all of us. Okay? What is wrong is imposing or interfering with due process to impose your preference. That is reprehensible, that is not acceptable.
Just a minute. I believe we have the audio clip now. Let's just take some time out to listen to this particular audio clip uploaded on YouTube by one certain Captain Sagri Koli, who says that he was present in a particular meeting between some members of a particular political party. They had a meeting with the military man in charge of elections in Ekiti on the eve of the June 21 governorship polls. Stick around.
Since we entered Ekiti, that was 3 days to the election. That is when I realized that a lot of compromise has been made between my commander and those guys in question. It reached a peak stage a day to the election when we were called, though commander was called directly, that the State Minister of Defense want to see him. And he asked me to accompany him to the place. And it is customary in the military, if a senior officer is going for any assignment, the junior ones accompanied him, which I did. So
I was in my house, people have staff on me. I said, and told me he has briefed him. And gave me his number because I never met him before. And he told me you are in safe hands, he will perform, and if you have any issues, call me. And he told me that I have made it clear to him that you are do not come for this election. Chief of Army Staff told me I've never met him before in my life. He only called me with instruction from the villa. Each time we explain this thing to this man, he's porous, everything is porous.
Anyway, I don't want us to, where we are now in general, you know, we had so many meetings that I don't believe that you have to be so many in this situation now. The idea of having a ship to work together is that everybody should work together. There's no circumstances whatsoever for everybody to disarm. No circumstances whatsoever. Number one. Number two is that let me just
this disarming of it. Is it the team that left? See, when I'm a commander.
The team that left here.
Yes.
Wait, the team that left here with the sticker agreed so. And people disarmed.
We even said these stickers.
That's why we're worried.
Excuse me, sir. We even said these stickers must not be shared until this follow up.
Don't say the hell. You can't do this.
Don't say the hell. They will now disable even police that want to help us. We can't continue like this. Are you working with a different police?
You know me. You are the one from Kogina. Are you not one of us?
Listen, my brother.
Are you not the one from Kogina?
This stakeholder is more in my heart than you. Don't talk to me anyhow, please.
I'm not talking to you
anyhow.
I'm not talking to you anyhow. Don't talk to me anyhow too. I won't take it from you. Who are you talking to? I'm an honorary member of the National Assembly. You don't talk to me anyhow. No. You know you're insulting me too.
Sit down, General. Sit down, General. Sit down, General.
Who are you?
Sit down, General.
Please let this You say what? I will allow you to talk. But one thing that I want to sound a note of warning. This man, we cannot keep him here indefinitely. Let us make progress. Give him instructions on what we want him to do. Let him go and do it. Let us monitor it, that those things are done. Because as he's seated there, other people are also monitoring his movement.
God bless you.
Give him instructions.
God bless you, sir. God bless you, sir.
Let me just say
let the senator land.
What I would just say that we don't have to argue this much. We have seen some lapses, yes. The point that I do correctly, I mean, you're just this evening. There's only happened now that cannot contain before evening, God morning. There's nothing.
We have to stop that now. We must bring that to an end. When we call you, within the next 5-10 minutes, we want to know what has been done about it. And we want to get a feedback on our own that this thing has been done. All those they have disarmed, tell your men they must release them.
They don't disarm anybody.
Put 2 or 3 of your men in charge of that. That before anybody is disarmed, they call that person for clearance. That person will call in, and if he says they should not, nobody disarm. If he says they should go ahead, he doesn't know them, let them go ahead and disarm them. Then that Daramola, I want him picked up in the morning.
No, tonight. Tonight.
Daramola and Commissioner of Finance, who was going to rally?
Daramola is in which? We have done a lot of to arrange to.
I understand.
I know. What I'm saying is the pressure.
Wait, Excellency, give him those places.
Just take it. Money number, he has my number.
He has your number. The people you want them to take control of, to arrest before the money.
Yes, sir.
You can't get promotion without me sitting on top of your military council.
Yes, sir.
If I'm a happy man tomorrow night, yes, the sky is your limit.
Okay, Victor High hasn't heard it, so I gave him the opportunity to hear it. They said the authenticity of this clip is still subject to forensic analysis and examination. But I'm assuming that this was authentic. I mean, we're talking about elections and the role of security agencies. How do we justify the position of security outfits now that it looks as if they are at the beck and call of the executive? What do you call that free or fair for the opposition? You also recall that prior to this time in Ekiti, during the election, really, because we might say this clip has not been authenticated. APC actually came out to say that 13 of their members were unlawfully detained and arrested by military officers. Don't you think that things seem to be adding up here?
Well, I do not think this requires any authentication, because, I mean, there are certain voices that are, how do I put it now? There are certain voice prints that are, just like your fingerprints and you recognize faces, certain voices that are unmistakable. I mean, if I speak anywhere, you cannot say it's not me. I mean, you know, I have a lisp, and I can't. It's not something that can be fixed. Like that, if someone wants to pretend to speak like me, he will not talk with a lisp continuously. There will be a slip along the way. You know, so there's certain voice prints, and you know, just listening to it, of course. But this is what happens. You know, I talked about politicians and trust earlier on. Wherever they can gain advantage, they would. I see a situation where, you know, the military here is being used for intimidation, you know, or how do I put it now, where a man is being induced, you know, say, okay, threatened if you like. I don't think that's fair. But it's also something that happens across board. Many governors use the state commissioners. I'm sorry to say this, but it's the truth. You know, when a commissioner has stayed long enough, which is why sometimes at the last minute they just change them. When a commissioner and a governor have stayed long enough, you know, they become like hand in glove. They're partners in crime as well, you know, which is one of the arguments against the state police, you know. But I don't think that the military should be used in a way like this. I think there's an abuse there, but also, I think it's also an individual thing. You know, the officer in that case should have been assertive, and I don't think anything would have happened to him. You know, but where maybe for your own selfish reason, because you think you might be promoted or denied promotion, you appear, you allow yourself to be intimidated, then it is sad. You know, so, but I think with what has happened, even if the military come out again, a lot of them will be a lot more careful, because what has happened is a lesson to the rest, and I don't think anyone would want to find himself in a position like that.
Let's open the phone lines and find out what the opinions of our viewers are on these developing stories on the show this morning. Hello, good morning.
And find out what the opinions of. Hello?
Good morning. Can you turn down the volume of your TV set?
Good morning. Good morning, good afternoon.
I need you to turn down the volume of your TV set. Can you do that?
I've just done that.
Beautiful. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
My name is Salisu. I'm calling from Niger State.
All right. Good morning, Salisu. Go ahead with your contribution.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I think what happened yesterday in Ukrika is a national disgrace. Because when people call Mama Peace, it has come to my mind that the woman is no longer Mama Peace. Because there are, when you watch the clips live, the way those people have thrown guns, even look at how many people that are injured just because of campaign. Secondly, this case of if it is international community, let's say America, it could have been removed since. Because this claim is a real evidence. Obanikoro is now, it is found. Everything, both the government, everything, nothing is hiding there. So I think they have to do something about that case. And our military is a very shameful thing to involve in this kind of situation. Very disgraceful. Thank you.
Thank you for your contribution, Salisu from Niger. Good to hear from you today. What way forward, Victor? Because you said that probably the postponement of the election has also helped in calming down tensions, but how do we ensure that this tension do not build up again? We don't have reprisal attacks and the likes.
We must put pressure on our leaders to keep preaching peace. we must put pressure on them. Because the followers are listening to them and they're watching their body language. And where there's silence in the face of tyranny and they do not condemn, then they're complicit. It means, therefore, that they're acquiesced to it. And the supporters, out of zealousness, will go ahead and... I mean, what happened in OKHAI may have been a situation like that. Some overzealous person may be thinking they're doing somebody a favor and they're going ahead to do what they've done. You know, so, but if you condemn and you keep condemning, then people know that obviously you're not in support of what they're doing, and that if they carry out anything in your name, they might be on their own.
It's all right.
Yeah.
Let's take this call. Hello, good morning.
Hello.
Good morning. Welcome to Call Digest. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Good morning. Tochukwu from Madam.
You're welcome to Juku. Please go ahead with your contribution.
I quickly condemn what happened in OKHAI yesterday.
Okay.
Every reasonable Nigerian should condemn it. However, having said that, I read a particular online newspaper that particularized the event, and this is the problem we have in this country. A situation whereby you carry head in APC, explosion in APC, like in first lady's stand. You see that type of particularization. First lady's stand. The president is the only one living in that house. And you now see the opposition trying to also play card with it. This is the problem in this country. Politicizing everything. Now, some people are suddenly insinuating that the first lady herself set those people for that attack. Whereas you and I know that in this country, it is the supporters that cry more than the belief. It is the supporters that perpetrate crime that ordinarily the contestants wouldn't advocate. You see, in Nigeria, when we want to attack issues and start tackling it sentimentally, or we create other problems. Let's not condemn the and call people who did either in support or in favor of anybody, call them together and condemn it. I'm not trying to now say that it is this lesson that sent them or it is this lesson that sent them. So I want to condemn it. It is unreasonable, it is unwarranted, and every Nigerian should condemn it.
Thank you very much for your contribution to Juku from Anambra. Good to hear from you. Well, a particular newspaper, I believe it was mentioned in The Nation, that says that explosions, gunshot disrupt rally at First Lady's hometown. Well, does it, is that not factual? Is it not the truth? Is it not First Lady's hometown?
It's not about whether it's not whether it's factual.
Isn't she the most prominent Nigerian in that town as of today? Just like her husband is #1 Nigerian citizen?
Well, other papers, you know, carried the headline, but they didn't cast it that way. Sometimes the way a headline is cast is meant to bring, you know, to you. So, but I think if we're promoting peace and all that, we don't need to cast such headlines. But obviously, it was cast for a particular reason. You know, so.
Let's take this call. Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Welcome to Call Digest. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
This is Adegbemile calling from Akure.
Adegbemile from Akure. How's Akure this morning?
Akure is cool.
Beautiful. Please go ahead with your contribution.
Yes, please. I have the possibility of listening to the audio tape.
Okay.
All right.
Adegbemile, are you there? I need you to turn down the volume of your TV set.
Yeah, I'm with you.
All right, go ahead, please.
Yeah, I listened to the audio tape, and it actually shows that for us to get it right in this country, we must stop the idea of using the military to monitor elections. The military ordinarily and constitutionally is meant to protect the country from external aggression and not to monitor and be part of electioneering process. What we've seen from that meeting between those who ordinarily want to rule us and want to be our leaders shows that we must, as Nigerians, say enough is enough. We can't continue this way. Nigeria is big enough that the people future belongs to every one of us and to our children. And I'm afraid, if you continue this way, you may not get it right. That is why we must be ready as Nigerians to say enough is enough. Otherwise, why, for God's sake, would the military be giving INEC chairman and INEC as a body the reasons why elections should not vote? To me,
it's all right, Adegbembele. Thank you very much for your contribution on the show today. Prior to this time, I believe on January 14, we saw a peace deal, or what they call the peace agreement, signed by all the presidential candidates, especially between the candidate of the APC and the PDP. And we've also seen a ripple effect of that across states.
Yes.
It looks as if signing agreements is not enough.
No, it's not enough. I've said they have to keep talking. We need to put pressure on them to keep talking. They have to keep talking to their followers. Wherever they go for campaigns, they need to keep emphasizing and re-emphasizing it. If they do not, then that peace agreement is useless because, of course, how many people were privy to it? Yes, it was shown on national TV, but many people missed it. But if they go for campaigns and they say it, and in fact, it should be a mantra. Every time they say anything, they should end with, you know, something that has to reinforce that. You know, otherwise, honestly, I keep saying it. If the country is in turmoil, who are they going to rule over? You know, it's important that they do that because if blood is shed on account of any politician, I don't know if they have conscience, but if they do, I don't think anybody should sleep well at night if people die because of you.
It's all right. When we come back after this break, we'll touch on the latest development on the exit of a former President Olusegun Obasanjo from the People's Democratic Party. Unlike the position of Femi Falana and Governor Fayose, the what's the state now? Jigawa State Governor, Governor Sule Lamido, believes that they should beg Obasanjo. We'll be back afterwards. Stick around. Don't go away.
Has it been a difficult task for you to purchase exquisite, classic, durable and sturdy furniture that will last the test of time? Here is good news for you. Purchase high-quality furniture for your household, offices, hotels and schools at Prince Interior Furnishing and Furniture Company Limited. Office address, Goshen Plaza, Showroom 28, Kubo Furniture Market, AYA, Nyanya Road, Abuja. Telephone 0803 119 1444 or 09291 7482. Email princeemeka240@yahoo.com. info@princeinterior.com. Website www.princeinterior.com. Purchase your furniture at Prince Interior Furnishing and Furniture Company Limited. Classic, strong, exquisite.
Thanks for staying with us on Call Digest Wednesday. Keep the calls coming, and you can also follow us on our Twitter and do at Call Digest Live. We also love to get your comments and contribution on that platform. To sum up, we spoke with the Ogun State PDP chairman yesterday, Adebayo Dayo, who says that they would not miss former president and that he probably doesn't have any significant addition to the party. Unlike those positions, Jigawa State Governor believes that he's a father and he should be brought back to the fold. What are your thoughts along this line?
There are two ways to look at it. What Lamido said, and he has good reason to say so, he's a protege of the former president. I understand he was touted, or he was proposed by the former president to be the running mate of President Goodluck Jonathan this time around. But Jonathan chose instead to stick with his current running mate, Namadi Sambo.
That's right.
So they're close. But it's also, I mean, what he said is a father and he needs to be placated. I also don't see anything wrong with that. But on the other hand, those who feel differently are not unjustified in the way they feel as well. because before now, the statements of the former president has done more harm to the party, you know, than good. You know, I believe that if he had anything against the party leadership, he had unfettered access, and with his position in the party, he can summon elders there, and I mean summon, to meetings, and they would attend, and they can discuss these issues. And if in any case you prefer solutions or suggestions and people don't take it, you know, you can just live quietly. But I think his bitterness, the biggest reason why he decided to leave was he never wanted Buruji, you know, Kashamu, whom he calls a criminal, according to him, and who is like a leading light in the party in Ogun State, and he says, that can't be my leader, you know, and he put pressure for the man to be removed, but no one removed him. But that is also democracy. You cannot impose people or arbitrarily say just remove somebody because you don't like the face of the person. It's a political party. Individuals have the right to join, and it's a matter of his votes. If you don't want somebody, when you come to vote, you vote the person out. You know, you understand what I'm saying? So, but I think that personal disagreement and the fact that he couldn't have his way was what made him really, really bitter. And he made allusion to the fact as well during this ceremony. And so he decided, okay, rather than be under this person, I'd rather opt out.
There were also opinions that there were plans already by the party to suspend him and probably...
No, he has, obviously there have been a lot of anti-party activities. You know, you can't be in a party and be pulling down the party. I said he has hurt the party, you know, more than helping it, especially in recent times. So it's understandable. I mean, he's an individual like everybody else, although he has a lot of influence, a founding father, like Lamido rightly pointed out, and he's done so much for the Nigerian nation, and he's an elder. He deserves to be respected and all that. But
let's take this call. Hello, good morning.
Hello.
Good morning. You're our last caller on the show today. What's your name? Where are you calling from? I'm afraid we lost that. You will have to call us back. We'll just take one more call before we go. Now, let's add all of these issues up. What role exactly does that average Nigerian electorate has to play as we count down to the big days, March 28 and April 11?
Well, I think let's remember that Nigeria belongs to all of us, and that beyond these politicians, there is a tomorrow. Those that are not in politics today may be in politics tomorrow. And as much as possible, remember what the president has always said, no politician is worth dying for, okay? Go there, use your one vote, make sure it counts. If it's in your favor, or in favor of your candidate, well and good. If not, be patient. In 4 years' time, there's another chance.
You can vote again.
Yes, that's the beauty of democracy. Who says that person you vote for now will not even change party? Who says the person will even live to see the 4 years?
Let's take this call. Hello, good morning.
Good morning, how are you doing?
Very fine. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
I'm Tanimu calling from Kebbi.
Ganiyu from Kebbi.
Tanimu.
Tanimu from Kebbi. Please go ahead with your contribution.
Well, I want to talk about the former president Olusegun Obasanjo. What he did, I don't believe in, because already PDP has a plan of sacking him. Then he got the notice of quitting PDP before they sack him. And about the service chief also, what they were doing is not their responsibility. They are supposed to protect this country with external aggression, not coming into the citizens of the nation. At least doing what is supposed to be done. If you can see what happened to the APC, armies are not supposed to be involved. And also the army chiefs are calling Obasanjo the army he left when he was in the military are not armies of today. which means the army of today are trained to be in politics. Is that what they mean? At least, this is not what our service chiefs are supposed to be doing. I'm in Kebbi. I heard that last 2 days ago, the immigration, custom, all the security agencies in the border town should withdraw. And it was a directive from the federal government. Why? I don't blame Obasanjo in any way. He is saving the nation. At least they are planned and he is destroying their plan. That is all my contributing, and thank you very much for doing what you have been doing. Keep it up.
Thank you very much, Tamino, for your contribution from Kebbi. Good to hear from you. Thank you very much for joining us today, Victor OKHAI. And a big thank you to all of our callers. We'll be back tomorrow, God willing, with another exciting edition of the show. Don't forget, you can follow us on Twitter at Call Digest Live. You can also download the Wawu TV application to watch us from anywhere in the world. And there will also be a repeat broadcast of this show in case you want to see it again at 12 a.m. That's midnight today. I'm Nifemi Oguntoye. Stick around. Don't go away.
You can now watch Core TV News live from anywhere in the world on our website www.coretvnews.com. Click on Live TV on our website and watch us live.
And welcome to Core TV Primetime Days.
To follow us on Twitter, click on Twitter icon on our website. On Facebook, click on the Facebook and YouTube to see all our previous news production. You can also watch us live on YouTube. Click Core TV, leave a space, then News. Core TV News, a 24-hour news station.